Hey guys, welcome to Ringsiders Wrestling. I am Jamie, he is Callum as always, and our very special guest, Gabby Ortiz. Hello, Gabby.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
That's our pleasure. Our pleasure. Oh, sorry, I thought I heard something then. Our pleasure. So how are you today? What's life like over there at the moment?
So I'm personally great. I had a great night last night. I retained my championship, so I'm happy. But the world's in crumbles, and we're just trying to figure out how to deal with that.
This is kind of what we were discussing in our interview earlier today. You know, everyone we speak to right now, they're saying the world's in a shambles right now, and some people are doing good, some people aren't doing too good. You've got to make what you can of it, I guess, and try and find as many positives as you can, because if you don't, you'll just go crazy. But at least you retained your championship. So tell us more about that. Let's start at the beginning.
Sure. So this is my home promotions women's championship, and I've been the longest champion there, longest women's champion there. It's the Monster Factory Pro Wrestling school, and their promotion called the MFPW. I have the women's championship. I've had it for a very, very long time. I've had it since March, and there was a good while where it wasn't being defended because of the pandemic. And then I have defended it 3 times since we started back up again.
So so that's only since you started back up again, you've defended it 3 times. That's good. That's not bad. I thought you meant 3 times like over your reign, but 3 times since you started up again. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, obviously with the pandemic, we were saying obviously, I think it's allowed a lot of the independent companies to thrive almost. We've seen them still putting on shows, and how important has that been for you to still have these companies to work for?
It's kept me sane. I don't know if like I would have been able to like get through the summer without having like a couple outdoor shows to have done during the summer, because it was like, I mean, I'm working from home all the time, so I'm never out, never interacting with people or anything. So it was really important to have those socially distanced and safe shows to do, where I was able to like wave to fans and like talk to them from a distance, and then work with some of my favorite people in the business.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of good promotions during this pandemic. Like GCW, for example, was the first socially distanced show that I saw, and I thought they did a great job of it, and still are doing a great job of it. So I wasn't sure how it would work, like as a fan, you know, like socially distanced wrestling. But it worked. What's it been like for you? Has it still been the same atmosphere? Have you? Obviously, it's better than no crowd, having some fans there. Has it still been the same like energy when you're wrestling?
Sometimes I would say I think people are rightfully nervous to be out. So there's people who are braving the storm, the theoretical storm, coming out. But then there's a lot of people who I haven't seen, who I used to see at shows all the time, who just like are keeping it really safe. I get it. I totally get it. But you can tell that the energy is low because there's less people.
Yeah, it's a weird time. It really is. I guess as well, as a wrestler without the fans as well. I mean, how do you go about your matches without that? Because obviously you feed off the fans. So I mean, how are you finding that?
It's so strange because, in my opinion, I think the fans are just as much a part of the show as anybody else is.
Yeah.
So it's like losing like a main character in the show. So you know what I mean? Because you feed off of them for your match, and it almost helps you dictate where the match goes.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're not there. You don't know what's working. You don't know what's not working, because
it's that instant feedback from the crowd, isn't it?
Exactly. And we, you know, with the couple of no audience shows I've had, it's been super weird. Like I had a match with Veda with no crowd, and like that's a match I've wanted to have for years. So excited for it. And then it was, you know, the day before, the booker was like, "Oh yeah, we're not having an audience. We're just doing it for Facebook Live." And I was like, No. I think it was a good match.
At least it was recorded, though, right? At least you can watch it back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't. I guess it's kind of like if I left Ringsiders, that's how Callum would feel. You know, he wouldn't know what to do. So I kind of I'm with that. You know,
I'm waiting for you to leave Ringsiders.
Thank you for that. But going back to the start as well, obviously, I was doing a little bit of research, and obviously, you got into wrestling, and your influences were China and AJ Lee. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What was it about those two? Because that's two very different styles of wrestling. That's
Exactly.
why.
Exactly. I think they're very, very different women, and that just goes to show how, I guess, multifaceted all women can be, right?
Yeah.
Like China is this imposing force, huge. But then you hear her talk, and she's like sweetest, most soft-spoken woman in the world. You have AJ Lee, who's this like tiny little spitfire, and you hear her talk, and she's vicious. Like, so it's like two polarizing women for two totally different reasons, and I think that's just women sometimes get put in these boxes.
Yeah, definitely.
And they broke out of it, and I love that.
Yeah.
And
Wrestling gets typecasted, doesn't it? Like, especially in certain companies, it's you can only be like a bitchy character, or but women are just like the men's wrestlers. They can have the characters, the gimmicks, they can have flaws, they can have, just like you said, multifaceted. And it's good that that's starting to die out, where you have to be one-dimensional. I think women's wrestling as a whole is starting to become just like the men's wrestling. It's just wrestling, and we're starting to see more characters and gimmicks and stuff for these wrestlers too. For you, what's that been like, trying to find out like what your character, what your gimmick is? What's that journey been like?
I'm still figuring it out.
Right.
Every match I have, every training session I go to, I'm figuring out who Gabby Ortiz is.
Yeah, so it's not easy.
Come back to me in a couple of years.
Yeah, I guess you're always learning as well, aren't you, in this business? I mean, I had something with The Undertaker a few weeks ago in an interview, and even he said, I still learn. I'm still learning now, and obviously tonight's the farewell. We'll see. But he was the same 30 years, and he says, I'm always learning. I was always learning. Going in with these young kids, I was always learning. And I guess that's, like you said there, you're learning still with what your gimmick is and all this. And that's important. And you mentioned your training as well, because there's a few guys I wanted to mention who you've trained with. Tell us about that. Damian Priest, for one. What was it like training with him? Because he's making a name for himself in NXT at the moment.
I know. It's crazy. I'm so happy for him. I'm so proud of him. He trained me. Him and QT Marshall were like my main trainers, and they're both doing amazing things, which I'm happy about, because they really knew what they were doing back then, and I'm sure they were learning with us at the same time as well, and they very, very much deserve where they're at. And they taught me everything I know, basically, them and LSG.
Yeah. You've got to mention him, don't leave him out.
No, he really did. I told him that the other day. I was like, dude, you train me. You're one of my trainers. I consider you one of my trainers. He was like, no, don't do that. And I was like, shut up. It's like, you taught me a lot of stuff. It's very cool to tell people like current wrestling fans, like, oh yeah, Damian Priest, like former North American NXT champion, like, oh, you train me, like,
no big deal.
Yeah, and again with Damian, I think he's doing some amazing work, because when he was in Ring of Honor, I always personally thought there was that one little thing missing, and he's gone to NXT, and it's like this whole
he's found
this character. It's just like he's the highlight of NXT for me now. The work he's doing is incredible, and it's a pleasure to watch him. So I mean, to be trained by him must have been incredible.
Yeah, there were 3 letters missing from him, and those 3 letters were H. Triple A. I think he took Damian to like a new level. Like, he tapped into something that he didn't even know he had.
Yeah.
And I think that's like Triple H's specialty.
Oh, for sure. Like I think we were both fans of him in Ring of Honor, but because we even got the chance to see him in Doncaster, didn't we?
Yeah,
At
in
the
the
live
UK.
show. And it was always good to watch, but you could just tell, like, this guy's going to be a megastar if he can just figure that last ingredient out. And like you said, it's Triple H's specialty. Seems to have really brought it out, because he's not just one of the best wrestlers on the roster now. He's one of the coolest. Like, he's a legit badass. And he's someone now I can actually see and go, yeah, he's a future world champion. So one day you might be able to say, I was trained by a, WWE champion or something. But
the other guy as well. I mean, I did notice the Blue Meanie. Is that correct? What was that like? I mean, yeah.
Blue Meanie is just taught me how to have fun in the ring.
Yeah.
Because like I was very nervous about ever looking silly in the ring and like kind of exposing myself in that way. But he taught me how to have fun and be silly and goofy if I need to, and like I can do that very well now if I have to. If I have to put myself in that position of like, and he's just a joy to be around and a joy to work with, and I wish I could train with him again. It's been a while.
Yeah, I think he's a very underrated guy, isn't he, as well? He seems to have a good mind for the business.
Oh yeah.
I met him a couple of years ago at the first Starcast, and he was just a sweetheart, such a really, really nice guy. He put his arm around me and we chatted. What a cool guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, very underrated mind. He seems to have a good mind for the business. Did you learn a lot of that as well, like psychologically, or was it just that have fun?
I think that's a part of it, though, is the having fun with it is part of the psychology of it. Because if you're like super duper serious all the time, a lot of the emotion gets lost.
Yeah.
Because not everything is super duper serious. Like, I'm gonna fight.
It's like going back to what you said about female wrestlers not being one-dimensional, they're multifaceted, but that's just people in general. Like, nobody is super serious 100% of the time. Everybody has a bit of fun, and vice versa. Not everyone's always a comedy wrestler. There's got to be a serious side to them. So you've got to be able to do the serious, the funny, the in-between. And I think if you can, the sky's the limit, really. Like, I think more wrestlers need to realize you can have fun in the ring, like, because it seems like a lot of people do just go for the serious route sometimes.
I mean, I can get where they're coming from with that, because if you look at MMA, like, you could say, oh, they're not having fun, but then look at Conor McGregor. He's having a blast the whole time.
Yeah, he is. But he is also, he's got so much confidence. Like, I think, that's a good point, actually. I guess, like, you can't come out, I don't know, where's the line, though, with that? Because if you are a comedy wrestler, how do you make sure you are still taken seriously? Like,
that's what I'm nervous about with myself, to be honest with you, because a lot of the times at like other promotions, I get booked in like kind of a super goofy, silly way, and I'm like, I don't want to be put in that box where like I'm not taken seriously as a competitor, but I also want to still have fun. So like, finding that line is still something I'm trying to figure out myself.
Yeah, because in wrestling, you can get pigeonholed into one area very quickly by the fans and the promoters, I imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's one of those things you're still going to be learning. Like you said, you're always learning. So maybe in a few years you'll figure it out. Well, maybe next time we get you on, we'll know.
Talking as well, Stardom. How did that come about? How did you get over to Japan? Was that always a goal to go to Japan?
When it happened for me, I was so new. I didn't realize how coveted something like that was for a wrestler. Like, I maybe had like 5 matches when I got picked to go to Japan. I knew Japan was a big deal for wrestling. I knew wrestling was a big deal in Japan. I just really, I didn't know what the opportunity I was receiving.
Yeah.
So like I got, and everyone was like, what the hell, Gabby? Like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And then it was super overwhelming, to be honest with you, just starting out and getting an opportunity like that. But what happened was Ring of Honor and Stardom were starting. Well, I think they already with New Japan had their partnership, I guess Stardom is New Japan's like sister promotion, like their
Yeah,
little sister.
sure. Yeah.
So they started to work with Women of Honor, and they wanted to bring a couple of foreign girls to Japan, and they had a tryout for Women of Honor and for Stardom, and I just so happened to be around, and I technically didn't even fit the criteria for the tryout. You had to have at least been working professionally for a year, and I hadn't been working professionally for a year, but my boyfriend LSG and Cheeseburger were like, someone got hurt, we need an extra body, you can do it, just show up. And I was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna, like, he's like, just learn, it's a cool learning experience. I was like, you're right, I'll go. And the owner of Stardom took a liking to me and decided to invest in me and send me out there and train me and put me on shows. And I was like, what?
You got to wrestle some incredible talent in your time in Stardom, didn't you? Zaya Brookside, Tony Storm, Hana Kimura. Quite an impressive list for, like, how long was you there for? Because in that time, you got to wrestle some of the top people there.
I was there for 2 months.
Right.
And I wrestled Mayu as well, which she's a powerhouse. She's so skinny but so strong. It's like it doesn't make any sense, to be honest with you. I'm like, how do you do what you do with that little body? And Hana, of course. Kagetsu, she retired, but she was amazing. She was I think she wrestled at Madison Square Garden with Hana and Jenny Rose. I don't know why she retired. She's incredible. And yeah, I wrestled Viper as well.
Yep.
Konami. I tagged with Shanna, and her and I had a singles match as well. Shanna from AEW.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's really not a bad list, is it?
Yeah.
How much did you learn then? You said you were quite new to it when you went over to Stardom. That must have been getting thrown in the deep end, so to speak. Like you either had to sink or swim, and it sounds like you took the opportunity and you ran with it. So, what was the biggest learning experience you took from your time in Stardom?
To take a punch, I guess.
Yeah. Always helps.
They're not softies over there. No, just to take every opportunity at 100%, no matter how scary it is. Because I cried a lot. Like I was homesick. I had never been away from home for that long. So my first day there at training, it was so intense, and it was nothing I'd ever experienced before. I came back with like my neck, like I pulled a neck muscle, and I was like, I want to go home. My dad was like, no. He's like, you're not coming home. You're not doing this. You're gonna ruin your career. And he was right. I was like, no, you're right. I'm being stupid. And then within a week or two, I had started feeling a lot more comfortable there. I had gotten along with the girls and felt more comfortable wrestling in front of crowds of people. I think my second match there was at Kirk Hall, which is like insane.
Wow. Yeah.
It was me and Shanna in a tag team, and we won. So that's something I can say happened to me, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I just learned how important Japanese wrestling is to wrestling as a whole, because I really didn't know. All I knew was really WWE.
Yeah, we were saying this earlier to Leon. It's almost like it's treated like a legitimate sport over there compared to more entertainment in the US and the UK. I mean, you said about the learning over there. What was the difference as well? Obviously, from the training in the US to training in Japan. So I'm presuming it was more of a physical, strong style kind of training.
Yeah, it definitely was. I think someone said this to me. It could have been Eric Stevens. Or was it? I don't remember. I'm sorry, but someone said to me they train the women different out there than they do.
Oh, really?
Because when you're here, you're training with all men, and women are all, basically all in the same place, and they just train women differently. And I think that as much as you want to do separate but equal, sometimes people don't really agree with that. There's benefits to that, and I noticed at Stardom. That there was it's to training with only girls, and they're kind of starting to do that here in America because of the Me Too movement and stuff, and they're basically like want to weed out some of the bad apples.
Do you think that's a good idea personally? I think it's important to have maybe certain sessions which can be mixed, but I think it's good to have the majority of the sessions at least let the women wrestle against each other, you know, and get that experience, because it seems to work wonders with the talent in Stardom. Like, look at Stardom; they've got the best women's roster on the planet. Like, and what do you think it's because of the training?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, they're only training with each other, and they're only wrestling each other.
Yeah.
That's like, there's no real crossover promotion stuff going on in Japan. It's where you train is where you wrestle, and that's beneficial in its own way, but also being able to wrestle other people that you don't train with is beneficial here as well.
Yeah.
There's good and bad to it, and I feel like if we are able to like kind of cherry pick what works, we could create like incredible wrestlers.
Definitely.
And
I'm still gonna have the training, like the mixed classes, because I think intergender wrestling can be, you know, it's fantastic. That still needs to happen. We're finally getting to a point where intergender wrestling is not called intergender wrestling; it's just wrestling. And that's how it should be. But yeah, I see the pros and cons for each. So hopefully there will be a point where, you know, you can have those mixed classes without having, you know, the creeps in the class, because there's always going to happen. Hopefully they get weeded out and it gets to a point where it's safe for everybody, and you can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, for sure. We're getting there. We're getting there. There's like some pros and cons to all of it.
Yeah.
Now, I know you mentioned we spoke a minute ago about the amount of people you've wrestled when you was in Japan. I wanted to mention as well, WOW, Women of Wrestling. Firstly, what was that experience like? And secondly, you at such a young age in your career, you got to go one-on-one with Molina. And what was that experience like working with Molina?
Very intimidating at first, right? I walked in, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is someone who I watched on television when I was younger. And I'm about to wrestle her for a championship. That's crazy. And then I met her and I was like, oh my God, you are the coolest person ever. She's so freaking sweet, but so tough. Like, to me, she is the epitome of like who a woman should be in wrestling. And I know you guys know what used to be said about her, like when she was in WWE.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going in there thinking I'm about to meet like a horrible, like snobby person. And then she's not that at all. And I feel so like bad and just that I came in with a preconceived notion of who she is.
Right. Yeah.
But then finding out who she was an absolute joy and a surprise, because oh my God, she's great. And then wrestling her was such a cool learning experience, and she taught me so much just in our match and in the back about being a role model in the locker room.
Yeah, she's another one of those names who I don't think she gets the credit she deserves as an in-ring performer. Like, if you watch the matches back, she was actually quite a bit ahead of her time with the stuff she was doing. It would fit into the wrestling now. So hopefully, like, she'll get the credit she deserves, because she was in NWA recently on NWA Power, and I think people were just starting to think like, yeah, she's really good, and then the pandemic hit. So I'm hoping she still gets that chance after this is all done.
I think she will. She's wonderful. And like I said, like her kind of being ahead of her time, I think that's why she got that reputation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like kind of people having to take her down a couple pegs because she was so good, you know? We're a better people now.
And what as a whole as well, what was the experience like working with WOW, with Women in Wrestling?
It was a great experience. It was fun. It was I love locker rooms like that. So we're a very supportive and fun environment. So yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky with the locker rooms I've been a part of, to be honest with you. Yeah. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I just don't get involved with like stupid drama or politics or anything.
You're just a nice person.
I mean, I like to sit back with my popcorn and watch it happen. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't we all? We
Yeah.
pretend we don't, but we all do, right?
I'm the first person to say we all love it. It's fantastic. But being a part of it is crippling for me. I hate being in the middle of drama, so I avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you on that. Yeah. I want a simple, easy, quiet, drama-free life. That's fine. But I'll sit back and watch it. But I don't want any. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Totally with you on that. Women of Honor as well. Recently, we've been lucky. We've been speaking to quite a few Ring of Honor guys, and we've had Kerry Silkin on a few times. Obviously, Leon today, Kenny King. It's been Josh Woods as well. I mean, what's it like being working there? Because Leon said today as well that it's such a fun locker room. Is that the same with you? Have you enjoyed working there?
Yeah. I miss working there. I miss seeing the locker room of girls. Especially like Mandy Leon, and she's fantastic. It's a fun locker room. I feel like the girls at Women of Honor have always not gotten the short end of the stick. I don't want to say that, but just never got a chance to really flourish.
Yeah.
Right? They were about to have the Women of Honor tournament to put the title on somebody because I think it was we had it. Kelly Klein relinquished it, so vacant. It's been vacant. Still vacant. And then the pandemic hit, they had to cancel the show. But they still paid everybody who was supposed to be on the show, and that wasn't getting put over enough, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did hear that, and I wasn't sure if it was true.
No.
But yeah, people were getting paid regardless of whether the shows happened or not. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think Ring of Honor like kind of had a little bit of a face turn when that happened as a promotion, because there was some stuff going on. But because there was stuff going on, and there was this kind of fans had a certain viewpoint of how Ring of Honor worked, but that wasn't necessarily true, because whenever I was there, it was an amazing environment.
Yeah.
And I guess there's business and stuff going on behind closed doors you might not know about, but as far as important is that like the wrestlers are feeling welcomed and safe, and I always felt welcomed and safe when I was there.
Yeah, I mean, the all you can ask for is that the wrestlers are treated fairly, getting paid, and not being disrespected and stuff. And by all accounts, from what I've heard recently, Ring of Honor is a great place to work. So that's great. Like you said, I think they needed some good PR, because there was a few things going around, true or not, which people were jumping on board. So yeah, that's good to know, especially with the talent getting paid, even if the shows weren't happening, because I can't think of anywhere else that was doing that.
No, there wasn't really anywhere else. They really protected their people.
That's good.
Very good. Very noble of them.
So obviously, Women of Honor, Stardom. Where else do you see yourself? I mean, 2021. God, fingers crossed we start to open up a bit. Is there any goals for 2021?
2020 is almost over, and I'm still processing 2018. To be honest with you, like I still no, I'm being stupid. I would love to do some appearances at AEW. Want to come out to the UK if they'll allow us. If I was the UK, I wouldn't. We're disgusting. Americans are gross. We're disgusting, sickly people. And
I love America.
If you allow us back, I would love to go. I would love to wrestle there. And yeah, I wanna maybe work again for the WWE. Do more than just extra work.
Yeah.
And I had a tryout in 2017 for WWE, and I would like another one because I've gotten a lot better. My skill set's better. I'm physically in better shape, because I was like a tiny, skinny thing when I went to WWE the first time. I'm sure they were like, "What is this 16-year-old doing here?" And now I feel a little bit more mature. I am a little bit more mature, and I think I would do better at a tryout. So
yeah, you hear as well that you can confirm it. The WWE tryouts, you hear from a lot of people that they are really physically demanding. I mean, is that the case?
Yeah, I mean, I went to for reference, I went to the tryout 125 pounds, and I came back home 115.
Wow.
Like they worked me to the bone. Also, like I don't eat when I'm like nervous. So like I also really wasn't eating that much. So we're doing like a ton of cardio, which is mostly what it is, just to see if you can physically keep up with their demands. And like Chelsea Green was at the tryout and she did Tough Enough, and I was asking her about that experience. I was like, oh, what was that like? And she was like, oh, I was a skeleton when we were done filming that. Like that's how physically demanding it is. So just go show you.
10 pounds.
I mean, I would kill for that right now. Like,
yeah, I think I need to go. I think I need to try out as well if I can drop a few pounds as well.
Yeah.
Before we start to wrap up as well, I saw another thing. Dream opponent, is it still Diona?
Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, I forgot to talk about Impact. Impact's women's roster is amazing right now.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, Deonna and Bianca Belair are my two dream opponents at the moment.
Great picks. Yeah. Bianca Belair, I mean, I think she's not just one of the best women's wrestlers on the roster. I think she's one of the best wrestlers in WWE. And she's going to be a megastar. And Deonna Purrazzo, I mean, ever since she's come to Impact, even during the pandemic, I feel like she's been a star. And so that's your two dream matches right now, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like you said. Well, yeah, Impact. I've said this a lot. I think Impact's putting on one of the best products anywhere at the moment.
Yeah,
I really do. I think it's somewhere where you thrive, and I would love to see you versus Diona. I mean, that'd be a fantastic match. What is it about Diona, especially then? What makes her the dream opponent?
Her and I have crossed paths so many times in locker rooms and have never been in the ring together. And I feel like I could learn so much from her. And she's just technically so sound. It's very hard to find a women's wrestler who's that technically just incredible. Yeah. Women's wrestlers are great, but she's just got something about her that not a lot of us girls do.
Yeah.
And very unique, and I want a taste of it. It seems amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and me and Callum can tell you right now, we want to see that match as well.
It'll happen.
We want to.
It's gonna happen.
It will happen. Before we start wrapping things up as well, we'd like you to plug your social medias, any merchandise. Obviously, maybe give LSG some nice kind words as he did for you.
It's fine. So my social media is at Gabby on Twitter and Instagram. That's where I'm the most active. You can DM me and I will most likely message you back, unless you're creepy, then I won't. And my merchandise link is on both those pages, so you can find it there. Leon St. Giovanni is a very good wrestler. And his match with Jay Lethal was just aired, and it was really, really good. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it.
There we go. We've got you both brownie points.
We need to do more of these boyfriend-girlfriend interviews back to back, because it's been quite wholesome, this, you know.
Wait, what did you say about me?
You'll have to watch and find out.
Okay.
I mean, if we wanted, we could cause some serious shit right now, couldn't we, Callum? But I mean, we won't. We won't. Yeah, he couldn't speak highly of you. Honestly, he really could. His little face lit up when we mentioned you.
Did, actually, whenever he was talking about you, he just had a little sparkle in his eye. It was very cute. So.
Oh, he's made what he's the best.
It was lovely. It was heartwarming. It really was. His little face lit up when we mentioned you. So it was lovely. But no, Gabby, we can't thank you enough. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please come on again. We'd love to talk more. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. She's Gabby Ortiz. We are Ringsiders.
For a moment, this has been one of the most fun podcasts I've ever done. This has been fantastic. Thank you guys so much. Seriously. Really? Thank you for not starting it off with, what got you into wrestling? Like, answer that question.
Well,
I appreciate it.
I just want to say, the reason we don't start with that is because in the first year of us doing a podcast, that's all we did. And realised, why are our interviews so bad? Like, it's because we ask the same shit every time. But yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Gabby Ortiz, thank you very much. We are Ringsiders.
Bye.